Tonight on the podcast, ladies and gentlemen, there was a post that I actually saw on theroot.com, and I rarely go on that, but as I was doing some search, it just kind of popped up in the Google search. So I said, so what you see on the screen, there's this conversation between three people, but definitely the guy in the middle. He is a CBS political correspondent. His name is Antoine Seawright. So when I saw it said black voters defecting to Trumpism, I said, okay, let me listen to this whole thing because I'm curious of what they're talking about. So there was a section, of course, they're talking about the impeachment with Biden. Like, I don't care about that. They can argue that. It's not even my issue or my problem. I think it's political theater personally. But when it got to that part about the black voters, well, we're going to hear exactly what black voters were they talking about and some of the talking points that they're using. Of course, we're going to cue this up, play certain parts. We'll stop it because we're going to interject, of course, and do our thing just to break things down. So let's go ahead and get started with this video.
We talked about black women. I got to ask you about black men, because we keep hearing that black men are going towards the Republican Party, which is kind of terrifying.
Just right off the rip. First of all, why is that terrifying? Like, what's going to actually happen if black men do this? Is something going to happen to her? Is something wholesale going to happen to black people? Is the world going to end if that happened? We all know that the world's not going to end. We know nothing's going to happen to even her personally or no one that's sitting there talking. The majority of black people are going to live their life and do their thing if black men decide to do this in more and more numbers. So why do you fear that? What is the fear? You know what I'm saying? Like, why should black men themselves fear that? Because it doesn't make sense. It's like you're so programmed to be on a plantation mindset with these Democrats that you're scared to do anything different, even sitting it out. Because we had people last night that actually made comments about, oh, well, we can't, that's even worse to sit it out. Okay, so you don't want to vote for the other side. Cool. I told you I'm good with it. And you don't want to sit it out either. So you're so performative in your mindset with voting that you just got to do it. You cannot even sit it out. Even if you don't want to vote for Republicans, you say you sit it out. You don't want to give nobody your vote. You can't even do that. Do you realize you're the only group of people that talk that way? Do you realize that? No other group of people. Let me tell you something. Asians don't go out there and wholesale vote. East Indians don't go out there and wholesale vote. Hispanics don't go out there and wholesale vote. All these different people don't go wholesale vote. You the only one that's going out there voting. You feel like it is a duty that you have to do. And if you don't do it, your life is going to come to an end. Or you're just not going to feel right about your existence if you don't go out there and vote. But yet everybody else is not voting. They focus on their economy in their respective communities, and they're getting more out of your vote, and they don't have to do anything. Like, aren't you tired of carrying the water for every freaking body by now? I mean, seriously. I mean, please with those comments about, well, that's not it either. Well, what you're doing is not it, obviously, because you're sitting up here listening to me. Because if the Democrats were doing good, you could easily retort everything that I'm saying. You wouldn't be listening to me at all. So obviously, you know what I'm saying is right. You just upset because, number one, I'm messing with your upbringing, number one, because you was raised from a baby to be a Democrat. I was too. So I know exactly where you come from as a black American. So it's hard when somebody's telling you your upbringing is wrong because it shakes you to the core. I get that. Trust me. It was a lot of things that I was taught growing up in the black community that I had to change my whole paradigm about in my life. And I didn't like it. I thought like, wow, man, but I understood that in order to progress in this life, you got to change the mindset. Even if you were raised a certain way, you got to change it and find out what works. And let's call it what it is. What we've been doing for the past 60 years as black people has not been working. It hasn't. I wouldn't be sitting up here talking about these people night after night after night if I didn't view about what we're doing as a collective of people as something as detrimental in the way we move politically. When I'm watching other groups come in this country and surpass you within 3 to 5 years, sure, I'm doing okay. And I'm going to continue to work hard so I can do even better. But it doesn't make me happy to say, okay, I'm doing okay. And I say, okay, I didn't say I was no rich person, because I'm not. I'm regular. And my brothers and sisters aren't doing okay either. That's what I'm saying. Because there are some people like, I ain't worried with them. Like your Congressional Black Caucus members, they that way. They not worried about you. They doing okay. They fine. They ain't rich, but they fine. And they'll sell you down the river to keep their checks. That's what I'm saying. They're not trying to wake you up to anything. They're not trying to shift your paradigm at all to get you to say, look at what we've been doing politically for 60 years, and we have actually regressed. We haven't progressed. You understand what I'm saying? So, sister, what is so scary? Oh, I know the fear. If black men take the lead, the leaders they supposed to be, that will inspire black women. And the children is going to follow. And I'll get more into the leadership a little later, but we had to touch on that. They all fear the collective leadership of black men, because the collective leadership of black men will change the world.
But, from my vantage point, aside from like the occasional black dude that Trump has strategically placed behind him with a Blacks for Trump t-shirt on, are the polls really reflecting that? Is this something that Democrats should be worried about?
So let me say a couple of things. Let me start with the power of the collective black vote. Because we're in a posture now in our community where they'll have outside forces try to come in and do this old strategy of divide and conquer. Make black people feel like it's black women or black men. It's more seasoned voters. Notice I didn't say old. Versus younger voters. It's uniquely positioned black voters versus traditional black voters. The old divide and conquer strategy by those who have our not best intentions at heart is at full work and on full blast right now.
What Antoine just said is a problem and is actually a racist trope that maybe he don't realize is a racist trope. Now, traditionally, they tried to paint black people as dumb, ignorant. They need the leadership of the white supremacists because they can't think for themselves. So when black people today live in the information age, and we are quantifying the numbers, we're looking at just what the trends are. We're looking at how the Democrats are moving with other groups of people versus how they're not moving with us. We're looking at how we're voting for them. Well, they said last election, black people voted for Biden at 92%, and yet we didn't get 92% of anything from Biden at all. So because that we are looking at people from 18 to 49 are not supporting Biden, but those 50 and older are supporting Biden. Not saying every 50 and older are doing it, but I'm saying at least the majority are doing it according to research. Because we're pointing all this stuff out, it must be the white supremacists that is doing divide and conquer, because we're so dumb as black people. It has to be the white supremacists doing it. It has to be trolls. You remember last time it called you Russian bots? Like, you cannot think for yourself. And that alone is extremely freaking racist in its core. But see, the racism that comes with the Democrat Party is racism with a smile. Racism that's very passive aggressive. A lot of nuanced racism. Because if it would have been a so-called Republican saying all you N-words are just dumb and ignorant, oh, you're quick to respond to that and you'll go to the attack. But when he just said that basically you can't think for yourself, so it has to be some outside white supremacist force to do so-called divide and conquer. Nobody's dividing anything. We're saying black men and women are saying we're not getting not this party. We are saying that in 2020, black people came out in large numbers to vote for Biden, and he just said, F us, right? He lied to black America. So is outside forces that? Oh, you don't remember that he lied? Let me cue this up.
Especially those moments, and especially those moments when this campaign was at its lowest ebb, the African-American community stood up again for me. You've always had my back, and I'll have yours.
So Biden said, as you clearly heard, he admitted black people had his back and he'd have ours. And yes, he did give his back and his butt to kiss because we didn't get anything. But it's supposed to be supposedly outside forces doing divide and conquer. So I guess when we unified, we all unified for Democrats? Really? That's what we doing? Because that's our massa? That's the plantation that we own? That only the Democrats, it's the people that we can vote for, or we want to sit it out, it's our business, do whatever the hell we want to do? I mean, that in itself is just very offensive. Let's continue.
Let's start there. Our collective power, our power in this country and our community comes with the collective black vote, not individual constituencies. With that being said, I do believe that we have some concerns. Notice I didn't say worry. We have some concerns as it relates to black men. I wrote an opinion piece in 2016. I said that black men have become the new swing vote. And I'll say in 2023, black men are the most consequential voting bloc in this country going forward. You can win with us, but you damn sure can lose without.
Now, Brother Antoine, you know, there are people that try to downplay things, but behind the scenes, they're really worried. You say it's concerning, right? Of course, you're not going to come out and say, oh my God, we are so worried about what's going to happen to the election. We worry about black men. Black men are a problem. Black men are a concern. The reason why you're losing black men is because for years you attacked black men, and black men have seen it wholesale. Once again, let's go back. 1994 crime bill that targeted mostly black men. Yes, black people, but black men was brought into jail like it was slavery all over again. Black men have not forgotten that. Black men has not forgotten that Biden said that he was the author of the bill. He wanted people in jail 100% of the time. We just covered that just a few days ago.
They have got to keep every prisoner in jail like we do federally 85% of the time for which they're sentenced. Right now, they're only kept in jail in the states on average 41% of the time. I like the idea they keep in jail longer. I'm the guy that wrote the bill requiring federal judges to keep people in jail 100% of the time for which they're sentenced, and the notable exceptions only 85%. So I'm all for tougher enforcement.
When Biden was saying this in 94 and 95. You understand what I'm saying? Black men haven't forgotten that. Black men haven't forgotten Bill Clinton putting people who get out of jail, making it difficult for them to even get a place to stay, saying they got a felony. They could literally discriminate against a person coming out of jail. And this is why you have a lot of black men that come out of jail, can't find a place to stay. A lot of times black men are homeless when they come out of jail. Some of them commit crimes to get put back in jail just so they can get square meals and a roof over their head. I know it's crazy to hear somebody say, well, you want to go back? Well, yes, because at least they're not in the street. They got a place, a bed, they got food or whatever, and they already institutionalized, so they cool with the situation. Bill Clinton had did that with the assistance of the Congressional Black Caucus at that time, because they were coming to them to try to do something against black people. No other group comes to no political leader to say, put my people in jail. No, but the Congressional Black Caucus did it. Why? It's because you have that boule class who believe they're better and that they feel since they got a seat at Massa's table, right, getting the little crumbs, they feel they better, so they don't care what happened to the masses of black people. This is why you hear me talk about the boule so much. It's because I understand they are greater enemies at times than even the white supremacists is, because they are there hearing the plans that's being used to harm black people, or they could speak up and advocate for black people, and they don't. They stay silent every single time. I've always said it's strange to say, oh, I'm in these Greek organizations. You are freaking black. What do you mean Greek? That's white folk. That's your problem right then and there. You couldn't be smart enough to say we are, a black-centered fraternity, not no Greek letters. I mean, shoot, you could lose something from Africa. I don't know. Use something else, right? I mean, I said a few years ago, oh my God, boy, he a hotep. I'm like, that doesn't offend me. It's the word hotep. I mean, actually, you tell it on yourself, because you sound like you sound like a sellout talking like that, when you should already know the history of black people globally, right? And what we have done and different, great, civilizations and dynasties that black people created. I mean, that's not offensive to call me a hotep. I mean, call me that, I guess. I'd rather be a hotep than be a sellout. I'll give you that much. But black men haven't forgotten how through the white media that now you want to talk about divide and conquer? Let's really talk about it. How the white media propped up people like Oprah Winfrey to put out horrible images and put this nasty things about black men on the airwaves. Oprah Winfrey, she was used, but she didn't own the media companies. You better understand that. Hollywood, which is ran by liberals, Democrats in California. Look at all the images, the negative images they put out of black men in their movies and things like that. If you want to go there, black men have been under attack by the Democrats for a very, very long time in every area of our lives. You want to talk about divide and conquer? They have been putting out things to divide and conquer the black family. If you want to go there. Black women, they need the fathers in the household. You have all these particular Democrat states that's legalizing marijuana. And none of them are saying, hey, let's release all the people we arrested for that, wipe their record clean, especially black people. We got to do right by them, right? Wipe their record clean. Help them get a place to stay because they're going to need some assistance. Put some money in their pocket. No, give them a form of reparations. Put some money in their pocket because of the years they could have lost with this situation, right? But no, they're not letting them out of jail. They're not even letting Brothas get the license to sell anything. They're giving all the licenses to the white folks. But black people barely can even get a license. And what they do to try to get black people not to get a license, they price it so high where the average black person can't get it. Because, see, these people are so insidious. The way they do things through economics. See, at first they used to say, okay, well, you black, you can't get it, right? Now they say, okay, well, the median income of black people is around 42, 43,000. So let's make the license 80,000, 100,000. Well, if the average black person is making about $43,000 a year, well, clearly he's not going to be able to afford the license unless he or she got some backing, or maybe that kind of black person doing well for themselves. And that's what they're banking on. They don't want these people to come out of jail and do it legally. And no, they don't want anything like that. And we're talking about Democrat states. They're supposed to be our friends, right? Black men have not forgot, a lot of men in general, how the family law system is so weaponized against men, period. How can men even build families and stay together when women in society are incentivized to break up the family and get rewarded for breaking up the family? It's a lot of things about the men that we haven't forgotten, and these Democrats have supported all those policies. So black men are saying, look, we got to prioritize building our economics. And the Democrat Party is not for building the economics of black men. And when we talk about economics, we're talking about entrepreneurship of black men. Black men with skills, like black men that's truck drivers out here who's doing very well. Black men in the industry I used to came out of, petrochemical. Black men who are accountants. Black men are doing all kind of things out here and have their own businesses doing it. And you see the different things that black men in business we got to go through. Democrats is not nowhere in what we're interested in because they want to harm us when we need to build the economy for black people, for the women in our lives and our children. How can we prioritize a freaking Democrat? We can't. Now, the screen said defecting to Trumpism. So defecting means you own us? We're part of the team? No. Black men do whatever the hell they want. And black men, just like black men have collectively left the black church, black men did that. Why? Because we seen, thus saith the Lord, is not in these black churches, the majority of them. You got a few preachers out here, and I say like this, a few that's doing the right thing, but the majority, no. And we know a pimp when we see one. We know game when we see one from another man. We see it. So that's why a lot of black men don't fool the church. And just like how black men left that church, we didn't say black men left the Lord himself because you don't need to go to nobody's church to worship the Lord. That was the purpose of the Lord coming here, right? If you want to go by the scriptures. The veil was ripped. You can go to God on your own. You ain't got to go to no temple. You got to go to no church or whatever. You can get where you at right now, close your eyes and pray and talk to God if that's what you want to do. If you want to read a Bible, you can pick it up and read it. You got a Bible on the app, Bible on wherever you want to read, right? You do not need no preacher to do anything because the preacher is running your pockets anyway. You struggling, making $43,000 a year if you're lucky, giving 10% of your income to this guy so he can live like in Houston, in River Oaks, driving Maybachs and getting Gulfstream jets, but the average black person is struggling to buy food? No. If you're going to take 10% of your income, take 10% of your income and save it for your children. Save it for a rainy day. Save it to buy a home or something. You're going to take 10% of your income. You know what I'm saying? Now, if a church is doing the right thing and you see it in the community, yeah, support them. I'm all for it. But I'm not for supporting no church that's out here just doing the rest of them doing, just playing games. So black men are now starting to walk away from the Democrat Party. And guess what? Democrat strategists, shills, you can't do nothing about it because you have nothing to offer black men. You can't tell black men that Republicans are racist, Trump is racist. As black men, we know the whole country is racist. Every day black men deal with racism. We're used to it. Doesn't bother us at that point. We as black men have learned to take emotionalism out of the political process, just like especially black men in business. Black men in business, you understand that we can't be emotional about this thing. You understand we got to get things paid. We got to get things from point A to point B. We got to make sure we make enough money to pay our people. It's not about no emotion at that point. It's about making sure things get done. Do people don't like us? Sure. Do we care? No. We're used to that as black men. Nobody has ever prioritized black men in society. Everybody dumps on black men. Listen, we are used to that. We're built for that. Anything a black man do, say, or even if he think out loud, we're scrutinized for it and condemned outside our community and even within our community. So we are used to it, and we don't care what you say about, oh, it's scary. Oh, you black men get in line and listen to the women, Tiffany Cross, right? We're the only men that's disrespected in that manner. I said that before and I say it again. I've never seen no white woman commentator, Hispanic, Asian, or any other group tell their men just to shut up and listen to the women. So black men is not listening to y'all. The shills, like, we see you coming because you don't even look like you've been through nothing. Your hair's not out of place at all. Your hand probably as soft as a woman, probably, the majority of you. You never work with your hands, right? There's nothing rough about you. You look like you're softer than cotton. Well, we see it all through you. You can't really connect with the everyday black man, right? See, when I talk to black men in the street, I connect with those brothers. Why? Because I've been where those brothers have been at, dealing with all kind of things, losing jobs because of racism. Watch how these folks get us out of jobs as black men. I've worked outside. I worked in the rain. I worked in the heat. I've been ate up by mosquitoes on jobs. Understand what I'm saying? I worked in 20-degree weather. I worked on 300-degree barges before. You got 300-degree asphalt underneath your feet, and I'm tankering a barge and talking to men of all communities, doing these jobs, right? Once you get a camaraderie with just men in general, it's a certain conversation you have with men. And the conversation y'all having, it doesn't connect with the man, period. I would say men, period, but definitely not black men. Because y'all don't have, y'all little Boule members don't have the real black man experience. That's why you can't connect. And any real black man can't even deal with y'all too long. Because dealing with y'all to a point is like dealing with a woman. I'm not saying that you're feminine. I'm not saying that anything more than that. I'm just saying that you more in line with women than you are with the men. Real men is not bowing their knee to get a position. Real men will lose a job. Real men will walk away from a job because you're not going to disrespect him like that. We're not gonna play a game. So when you see black men, like I said the other day, I was just talking to other brothers that I don't even know, but as men, we connect as brothers. And all of them agreed that the Democrats not doing crap for us as black people. And listen, we are black men who are husbands. We are fathers. You think we don't want to provide for our wives, and maybe you got a girlfriend, or provide for our children? You think we don't want to provide? You think we don't want to put our family in homes if we got in a freaking apartment? You think we don't want to take our family on a nice vacation? You think we don't want to do great things for our wives, buy our wives nice things, buy our nice cars, buy our jewelry, make sure her hair can be done, get her lashes done, her nails, and whatever else our wives want? You think we don't want to do that? Well, how can we do that with no money? What policies are Democrats putting out there to put a bag in black men's pocket? They're not. All they're talking about is just things that black men don't relate to. So you can't shame us about Democrat. You can't, because you're offering nothing. But you don't do nothing for black people, black women either, though. The only black women that you do for, I will say this, if they low income and they having kids, yeah, you do something for them. But let's talk about it. The upper echelon black women, you may give them a job definitely a lot quicker than you give a black man because you're threatened by black men. You're not threatened by black women. But even those black women got to watch their mouth because Karen or Becky will get their behind out of there. Oh, if Keisha wear her hair a certain way, she can stir up jealousy. If the white man is thinking she's attractive, it stirs up jealousy and they're trying to get Keisha out of there. So it's not that black women got it easy either in these jobs. I've seen exactly what happened to black women. Even black women that get the attention of black men on the job, Becky and Karen is upset about that too. I've seen it. I'm like, huh? How are you mad about brothers thinking a black woman is attractive? Why are you upset about it? What that got to do with you? The men of your community is right there. Why are you mad about it? I've seen all that on jobs. So it's nothing y'all can say to black men because you're not offering anything. Offer something to black men if you want black men to even listen to you, but you're not, because you're not doubling down. You're going to triple down. I already know you, because you have in your head, I don't have to do nothing for black people, and for sure I don't have to do nothing for black men. That's a given. Democrats have been the party of mass incarceration of black men. We will never forget that. Never. For you to even get black men's attention, you got to undo all the mass incarceration that y'all done. And y'all not even trying to undo it. That's the thing, y'all. Think about that. They not even try to undo what they did. You say, okay, we made quote unquote mistakes. Let's undo it all. They're not trying. Why? Because they're paid politicians. And the private prison industry pays all those Democrats to keep black people in prison. Because if those beds aren't full in prison, then those jails got to close. So how is it that they saying crime nationwide had been taking, downward turns, but yet the prisons are emptying, prisons are closing? Because your politicians is going to make sure to do whatever they can to instruct the race soldiers to find anything they can to lock up a black person, preferably a black person of low income, because they cannot afford a defense. So it's easier for them to lock them up. It's easier for them they'll take a plea deal because they won't fight anything. Or sometimes they railroad so many brothers in jail because of economics. Sometimes brothers can't even get out because their families only had the money to bail them out, and they bank on that too. But the Democrats not trying to do anything about that, not at all. Then they say, "Oh yeah, the Democrats say no cash bail." Why would I give cash bail to a dude that just took a bunch of people's lives and let him right back out? No, I wouldn't let him out. To me, people that need to be let out is nonviolent offenses, for sure, nonviolent, right? And whatever else you want to let people out on, but definitely when you taking somebody's life, no, you need to sit down. You need to sit. It's just that simple. Hell, I would rather some people, like say nonviolent offenses, I'd rather them do home. If you're going to send them to something, send them to home confinement. Send them to that. Don't put them in prison. Put them, if they didn't like out here just shooting people and killing people, put them on home confinement. Just no different than what we were during the pandemic. People had to stay home. Let them stay home. Let them get a work from home job and let them stay home. Now, they violate the terms of home confinement. Okay, well, they ought to go, right? I'd rather people do that. I'm not for locking people up. See, in the African continent, they don't have a mass incarceration problem. They really don't. But this country lock more people up than China. China has way more people in their country than this one do. And you got more people in prison, and it's majority black people. It's done by design. Black men haven't forgot about that, Democrats. We haven't forgot at all. So you could say that you're concerned, but you're not worried. No, you're worried, because if you wasn't worried, it would have been all in your publications all over the place this week about black people abandoning Biden and for surely black men. Oh, you worried, and you should be. You should be worried because this is the chickens coming home to roost. You forgot black men for a long time. And now black men are finally have woke up and say, okay, we're going to play benign neglect with you like you played benign neglect with us.